How's it going, everybody? This is Don out here. Um, this video. Sorry, I need to get my schedule together. But for today, we're gonna be talking about the media and if it's helpful or not. So the idea, I wrote this down. That's why I'm just kind of remembering it. So from what I've understood, especially in terms of the pop culture, is that it's very postmodern, and it's more so like a there's not really a set morality and do what you want kind of mentality. And I want to say it's a very lucrative way of getting money. It's by telling people that you don't really need responsibility, that your actions don't have any consequence, and that you feel free to do whatever you want. Now, again, apologize. I should have did this at 1 o'clock. Totally forgot, but I got to be more consistent if I want to do something. So, it made me think in terms like the purpose, morality, and just this way of hedonism. So you hear these videos, these music videos. They say things like blame it on the alcohol, or um, do what you want to do, or the heart wants what it wants and stuff like that. And I guess more so the bigger question is, can you just say that it's all about the music? And as a public figure, can you just say, I'm just an artist. I'm not really I'm not really the type of person that people should look up to. And I say not really. Well, yes and no. Because as a public figure, you have dynamics that are similar to a other public figures such as presidents, kings, what's the word? Not secretaries. Captain Check has to be noted within every public discourse, and so it makes me wonder in terms of those things. Um, if you commit like a moral slip, failure, whatever you want to call it, you know, essentially do something that's not good, but compared to you, the person who's or you or I, the people who do our darkness and secret, um, there's their public figures. Let's say, for instance, let's say Kevin Hart. Well, actually, no, because I don't really know a lot about him. I'll say also, who do I want to talk about? I guess we can call. I would say Trump, but I don't know too much about him either. But he is a very interesting portion of this topic because he's been in media and he has portrayed himself to be this person who's too big for the world almost. Maybe not too big, but uh, big to take over the world almost, like a supernatural figure in a sense. And so just his uh, grandiosity and how he performs as a person is just more so it doesn't necessarily note responsibility, but at the same time it does. He is. I'm pretty sure he's responsible in his own way because I'm pretty sure as a businessman you have to be responsible for your own livelihood, for your own safety and your money and stuff like that. You can't just sit here and say, "Oh, whatever," like a common person, or let me just hope. No, you need to have your money down pat. So, from what he says in terms of media, it's kind of interesting because even if you aren't necessarily even if isn't directly tied to a specific purpose, doesn't mean that it's not purposeless. So Donald Trump and all his rhetoric and all his public you know uh triumphal speeches and stuff like that, you think that's like, wow, he's just kind of walking around with his nose, and he's just too big for his britches. But it's like, no, he's garnering loyalty, support, and loyalty is a very desirable thing. It's something that you can't see, but it's something that garners a guarantee. You know, and so given that, if you especially if you play a certain role, you consistently play a certain role and give people the assumption that you are under that a certain assumption, that you're too big for your britches. You continue to be too big for your britches, and you may gar- uh, garner or harbor um, certain persons who may want to bring you down. They might want to just tear you down a peg or two. Like, man, this dude's too big. He needs to come down a few, and you continuously stay and persevere. People will think, man, nothing can really take you down, and you're gonna continuously have enemies who might try to continue to break your kneecaps, continue to attempt to. But it's like if you continue to show them, as far as I can tell from it, um, just that you just seem to be unaffected, continuously full steam ahead. It just seems to me in playing the game, you just you seem to be triumphal, and it kind of I can't remember where it's from exactly, but it reminded me of a time where not the king who has no clothes, but it's more so like um if you if you have more so the public's favor, and let's say you trick them into thinking that you've won, and you have the public's favor, regardless of who won. If you Even if you lie and you have the public's favor, they will probably be more prone to believing that, hey, you won despite the papers and stuff saying that you didn't. Another thing is more so it reminds me of two things: the movie Bernie with Jack Black and Atlanta. Why Atlanta? I kind of forget. Oh, basically from Atlanta, the episode where I forget his name. The person Donald Glover plays as, he has $100 and he's just having the worst time spending it, and people are lying. People are don't have confidence in his legal tender. So he says, hey, this is legal, I can actually spend this, and everybody has doubts because it's not so much just the money, it's more so uh, the persona that the holder of the money is. I mean, it has. And so it's kind of interesting how that works. And Bernie, where the Jack Black plays as this assistant to this wealthy this heiress, is a female heir of these. I don't know if she's an heir, but she was basically very wealthy. He was like her I guess lover, assistant slash assistant, some of that. And so basically, long story short, I would definitely suggest you watch it. It's very good. He kills her. Um, because she's a cruel and bitter person, and everybody essentially hated her, and he tolerated her to the point where he killed her from induced stress from a prolonged use of induced stress. Now the idea goes like this: is that sorry, do we um do we give the so-called righteous, the righteous a pass, or do we judge them? Now in the movie Bernie, like both those pieces of media kind of deal with the perception of the person and therefore the validity of their actions. In the movie Bernie, not only was she a bitter and cruel person, but the person Bernie, the person Jack Black plays as, was exceptionally the opposite. Everybody loved him. Everybody enjoyed his company. So when he killed her, they not only believe, like, and he was pretty honest. He was like, "Hey, I did it." You know, the people believed him. I mean, didn't believe that he killed her, but at the same time, they didn't really have a bias against him either. So it's interesting how humans work, um, and so it was more so they were very quick to rally against how, as far as I remember, um, and him even going to jail. They was like they had so much support for him that they really didn't really want to count this against him. So it's very interesting, especially in terms of government. Like, how do you deal justice, especially if the person's likable or not? And so you have a person in there who's very hard nosed, who's played by Matthew McConaughey, I think. and he's like this very hard-nosed individual who's really right standing, and he's abiding by the law and stuff like that. And he says, hey, no, we have to do due process, and we have to follow the law. And so he follows this objective morality versus these the people versus, I mean, in addition to Bernie's personal, not personal morality, but more so like, because he himself admits everything. He's kind of in the far of truth. He says, I did it, do what you got to do, I'm wrong. And the other guy, Matthew McConaughey, plays as, he's like, well, you have to go through the due process, because he's a sheriff. He's like, you need to go through the due process. Doesn't matter if people like you. Doesn't matter if people want you not in the jail. You committed a crime. You have to pay for it. So again, that's pretty interesting. It sort of reminds me, but of American history, because we haven't always been too clear, like Boston Tea Party and stuff like that. Um, there's things we disagree with and did very inappropriate things. Is one of our pastimes that we remember. But is if we want to say, hey, follow what's right, then what was right was just abiding by taxes. But we didn't want to do that, so we did something that was very inappropriate. Um, I say we because it's like we're Americans. Even if the populace who may watch this may not be an American, but regardless, um, the trailing is back to media. Should media be responsible, and the persons and the personalities of these media, should they be responsible for actually being showing morality? It kind of reminds me of this band Dance Gavin Dance, which is, I believe, is post hardcore, and their lyrics have no it has very little to no coherence, and if they do, is it'd be slightly hard to decipher it, that would tie itself to the proper narrative that the videos actually show. But I think that's the point, is that it doesn't really have any coherent narrative. But the music is, it sounds great, it sounds very pleasant. And so, coming back to the idea of media, I think it has to be a balance. I think that's my answer. Sorry, it's been 12:30 to get to an answer, but um, I think it needs to be a balance between purpose and essentially an entertainment. Some people want to be entertainers, and like, for instance, the comedians like Lucy Kay, or was it Bill Cosby, or what is it? I don't know if Harvey Weinstein's an actual. I don't think so. I don't think he's a comedian. But essentially, these persons, these media personalities and celebrities and stuff, um, they do personal things. They do personally negative and inflicting things. And it's like, okay, do we charge them by their personhood, by their profession? Um, and some people want to kind of link both of them together with these protests with what's his name, the dude who kneeled on the I can't remember. He's from I think it was the 79ers, 76ers, or something like that. I can't remember. It's not hard. I can't remember his name. He's well known. Let's just say that he's well known for kneeling. Ah, okay, sorry. He's well known for kneeling. Again, man, I wish I would have. Colin Kaepernick, yeah, Colin Kaepernick. And so, regardless of your opinion, that's still a question that needs to be asked. Because people did it before, like in the Olympics back in the day. When they showed the silent sign to say "I'm me, I love myself." They did that, and they lost their sponsorships and stuff. They made people made civil unrest in that, because when people, they merely wanted to show the Olympics, and the people participating said within themselves that I'm more than an Olympian. I am myself, and I'm gonna represent myself. So that shows in itself, even if you have these people who are um, based off their merit, based off regarded, um, Yes, again, it's based off the talent and the competence of their abilities. It still shows for them personally that their competence, their abilities, their strength, and themselves personally are one and the same. Um, it kind of, I forgot, it was, I had a thought, I can't remember what it was. It reminded me of someone else. It wasn't the basketball players. Um, but yeah, it just makes me wonder, like, okay, they believe that they are, like, all these things are themselves. Oh, another thing is more so like their abilities as people. Um, not as people. I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I was trying to talk about the people who these professionals. I wanted to mention their money. I also want to mention their opportunities, because it's like more so like, okay, they have this money, they have these opportunities, and it's strange because I've heard people say like they have money, what are they complaining about? And it's strange to me because it's like they're not. And I've heard from their experiences, some of them, that they've experienced similar criticisms, prejudice, even though they have a lot of money, even though they have a lot of wealth and stuff. It reminds me of what Kanye once said. He says, it's not Diamonds Are Forever. That Sierra Leone, Diamonds from Sierra Leone. It is something else. I can't remember. It was an older one. But he says, even if you're in a two seater, you're still and we're with a coupe. You know. So he was like, that's how people will regard you as. Um, you're still reduced to that state of personhood as just this stereotype, this negative stereotype. And I'm not, and what I want to say in terms of just comparisons, that stereotypes do loosely ride on truth. You know, you have people who don't act as they should. I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I don't. There's times I don't act as I should. Um, but should you separate? And I think that's especially with today's topics, in 2019, about R. Kelly and Drake and a lot of these other celebrities, which is again is dispelling the notion that get any celebrities get like the not the get special treatment. You know, let's say that, you know, in terms of just who they are in morality. And so it makes me wonder, just should they, you know, should they be pardoned? Should they get a free pass? And I'm talking about plenty of celebrities: Elvis, Woody Harrelson, Woody Allen. I think it's Woody Allen. I thought it was Woody Harrison. Woody Harrison. No, Woody Allen. That might be him. Just plenty of them. What they've done, very questionable moral things, and it kind of bothers me because sometimes their stuff gets thrown under the rug when just I'm like, they're known for doing crazy things, and people just generalize everybody in regards to their doings, you know, their crimes or their misdealings, or just things that they've just done that are bad to do. They're terrible, you know. So it kind of bothers me sometimes because it doesn't always seem like that it's an equal playing field when it comes down to a judgment. Um, and one of the things is that it made me think about what people was talking about cancel culture, where it's similar. It's a mob mentality where they're like, you know, we don't really know everything, but justice needs to be served, and us mass wide people of the internet has to do justice, and we're not gonna wait on the government. We're gonna just take them down, and it's just like, I get the spirit behind it, but it's like that doesn't help anyone, because if that person's innocent, then guess what? Collectively, we killed somebody. Collectively, we jailed somebody. Collectively, we punished somebody that didn't deserve it. So it's kind of strange, but I guess I see the heart behind all that, because it's like we want we want justice. You know, we're tired of people getting special treatment, and people who have just kind of gotten away with stuff they shouldn't have. You know, if one set of people who would have done the same thing, they would have. gotten away with it, or if another person, a set of people, would have done the similar thing, they would have gotten a harsher sentence, a harsher punishment. And so, and this isn't just race. This is other divisions such as class, other divisions, um, let's say even sexual orientation, um, sex, the whole nine. I don't know. There's a lot there, and but even then, those have their own topics to be discussed there. But this is more so the media. So, I'm sorry, I kind of delved too far. The idea, sorry, moment. The idea behind this is just more so, um, can can media does media have to be responsible 100% of the time? So similar, it kind of reminds me of other countries like South Korea and stuff, where their artists are regulated, they're controlled, and stuff like that. Do I know if any of them are controlled here? No idea. Maybe so. But it just kind of makes me wonder, like, I think it has to be a balance of entertainment, of pointless media entertainment. Because, like, for instance, even in hip hop, where we see more so a form of a function type of hip hop these days, was more so I like how it sounds versus the meaning behind it. Now I used to be those people back in the day who's, I mean, like, man, this stuff sucks. Like, there's no purpose behind it. But now I've been like, okay, I'm understanding that this isn't it's not just something that just function all the time. You know, you don't have to hear lyrics that make sense. Because, like, for instance, check out the art movements like the Dada art, or what is it, impressionism. I'd definitely say Dada. You check that out, you'd be like, the heck is this? This is art. Sometimes I would even like to say Jackson Pollock. But again, there's more so those things that make them valuable versus the painting themselves. And so for the art connoisseurs, they say, okay, what looks to be a streak of paint is actually a defiance against the conventional classical media of pretty things, or whatever. Like, but essentially, I want to say similarly. Well, I guess I'll put that very loosely. What counts more so nowadays is more so, uh, more or less, because we're kind of like going back and forth in terms of purpose and things like that. Like, okay, we have a meaningful message in a video. Okay, we have a music video that's really about nothing. It's about having fun and just doing stupid things. Oh, we have something in the middle. Oh, doing stupid things. There's a purpose to doing stupid things because you're hurt or something. Like, for instance, the pop culture of Maria Takeuchi with Plastic Love, where she kind of straddles the fence. This is the older song that got resurfaced for some reason, but she kind of goes back and forth where she kind of talks about, hey, I'm just doing this to have a good time and forget about my heartbreak and stuff like that. So it's just straddling the fence. So it's like, I guess media isn't always like, okay, you know, we have to be good people. And I mentioned South Korea because it's not only because it's regulated, but because they have very purposeful stuff, and at the same time, they don't. They have just fun stuff. It's just to have a good time, and they regulated probably by their government. It's just like, you're gonna make a video, or some company that's funded by the government, whatever. You're gonna make a video, and that video is gonna be about fun, and maybe even a video about being just a little sexy and just doing this, and it's just like, that's what we're gonna do for this, you know. And sometimes even here we do the same thing, whether you got boy bands, teen boy bands, or just regular videos. You have things like, okay, there's gonna be feel good music. This is gonna be music that you just drive to, and you don't really even care about the lyrics. Or you may have stuff where even if you peer on the internet is a great tool these days where you find different music. I find this person named Moonchild has very nice songs, but this was during my binge of just really finding different songs from like Trico, Japanese math rock, to Erica Badu, which is, as they say, neo soul. She herself doesn't coin that term, but her Jill Scott, even in the early 2000s of Fuji's, Lauryn Hill, stuff like that. So it's just like I'm just discovering new artists on the internet, and just it's just been a wonder. So it's essentially what I'm saying is more so, if you want songs that has purpose in them, that talk about good things, that talk about meaningful things, you can find that especially on the internet. But in terms of just outside the internet, it's more so like a father catching up with the times, and not so much being a cool dad, but more so just understanding what his son's doing. And so I'll say the son is the internet, and the son is basically growing up. Is continuously growing, is continuously maturing, and encountering new obstacles to face. And so just especially in terms of the media, it definitely does a pendulum swing back and forth, from our political topics to socioeconomic concerns to mere perspectives of music, So when a person says, I am just about the music, I guess in a sense, don't shun him too quickly when he says he's just about the music. Because in addition to a person just wanting to make money, because who doesn't want to make money? Who doesn't want to use that to survive? When people attempt to make, I mean, A, we don't know what they're going through. We don't know if they're paying off a loan from their company to make a good video and, you know, uh, pay them back. We don't know any of that stuff. We don't know a lot of stuff that they're going through. We just see, oh, they what it looks like, and we just have this problem of this video culture. Just okay, what it looks like, it probably is, and it's like it's probably not. They're probably selling you a fantasy, probably selling you something that's just not true. But similar to like what I mentioned with the president, is that if you see it, you see it, little bit believe it. So it's like if Trump shows himself to be strong and courageous and really don't take any mess, then you'll think, okay, this guy must be those things. He must not be human, or he must just be an icon for just strong, tough persons who don't break. So it's like, but Trump's a human being too. He's a human being. He might have times of weakness, but he's just a human being. Um, but ultimately, what my point is that the image of something is is very important, and so even in our media knows that, and our media knows what we like, and so it'll keep feeding us that stuff. Like, okay, here, this is what you like, right? You like fun times and good times and stuff like that. Here, we got you. You want sad times, you want meaningful things. We got you. YouTube's algorithm also try to predict what you like, I believe, or I'm not too sure. I'll probably take a further look at that. But yeah, so ultimately, um, it does a pendulum swing. It moves back and forth between meaningful and meaningless, and even with the meaningless, there's still purpose in the meaningless of media. And Lord forbid that the media companies have their own purposeful agenda, especially in an attempt to manipulate us for their own sake, uh, with views, media ratings, and stuff like that. And they ultimately say the love of money is the root of all evil. So the pursuit, the holding, the attachment of gain, where you gain at all, no matter what the cost is. You could trick your friends, but in order to gain, the means justify the end. So it's like, I want $1 million, and if I have to scam five of my closest friends to do it, or even manipulate them to even give me the money, or manipulate whoever I have to get the money, then sure, so be it. So ultimately, I mean, I don't know. I don't even have an ultimate answer. I just have that. The media. Um, it's a pendulum swing. And we do this power grab between them, us, um, who's getting the shorter end of the stick and the longer end of the stick and the bigger part of the stick. And hey, Jonathan Patton, how you doing? Yeah, sorry about that. I'm a little late. I'm like super late, but I'm 30 minutes in. So if you're interested, you can watch the rest. I don't know if I'm pretty sure I've been repeating a few things. I just try to recap, but yeah, I'm glad you can see the other video. So yeah, so this is just more so about media and should they be responsible? That's all good. I didn't know you were going to stream today, but I'm good. How are you? I'm doing okay. Um, Definitely gotta get ready for work in about an hour. Especially just keeping note. Well, I guess I don't have to keep note of that, but more so, yeah, I'll be getting to work real soon. Um, but I just thought I'd try to be a little more consistent because I just remembered your video, your message. So I'm like, I gotta keep. I'm probably just gonna set an alarm for myself on the reminder. But yeah, just trying to be more consistent with these videos. And so I was writing down some topics. So I was like, media is a good topic. That's a good one. So I just thought I'd talk about that because I'm like, you know, should media be responsible in their content? Should they talk about good things? Should they talk about useless things? And I'm like, let's talk about it. So I just figured that. So actually, hey, what do you think, Mr. Patton? If you, what do you think media should be? And I'll try to spend this about 5-10 ish minutes. Do you think that media should be responsible in their content, or is it are they okay with making content that's just about fun and having a good time and nothing really particularly important? I think we as people should take responsibility on how we consume what the media gives us. That's very important. That's true too. I think that's very important. Um, while I think that's true, I think the relationship between us as consumers and them as people who give us products to consume, I think there needs to be a healthy relationship regarding that because we're the reason that they get funding for their companies anyway. I mean, of course, they take loans to make their products available to us. I agree. There should definitely be a balance. Yeah, because it's like even though I definitely don't want to discount what you said because we can't be just rolling on our backs every time the media does something to us or does something that may affect us. We can't be like, "Oh man, you gave us a feel good song." I give up. It feels too good. No, we should be like, "Okay, should I be watching this? If it sounds good, and is this a time that I should just let it go right now, And I'm not saying you should ever be you should never take it lightly. Take life lightly. Sometimes you just need to unwind and that's okay. Sometimes you need um I guess responsible content, smart content, competent content in you. I think so. So I think yeah, like I agree with both points, maintain a balance between their relationship because like if we don't listen if we don't watch their content then not only do they ratings fall you know you know I'm and that's something I've always been wondering, how do they track that we're watching their shows? Maybe it's a frequency or something like that. I have no idea. I've always been wondering that, like, how do they know I'm watching your show? you know I know they have different channels, so maybe that's it. So how long I've been on the channel or something. But yeah, yep, that's all I got there. Um, like, cause I'm like in other countries, they control their content. They control what they feed to their public. For us, I guess in this capitalist society, it's more so about who does it best, who does it well. So if you could feed people content better, then you get the spot because essentially you're far more guaranteed. You have less risk and far more guaranteed to give us what we want. You know, to guarantee us money, guarantee us, um, the bag, I guess, you know. So that's what I say. Like, and that will make sense to me. Like, if you're, like, if I had a lemonade stand and you were a very good person of making lemonade, why should I give Johnny across the street versus Susie here who knows how to make a lemonade? Why should I give Johnny a shot just because he's asking? Maybe, but if Johnny says he's been at five lemonade stands and been successful making $20 for a week or something like that, given our currency's that good, and he's just had a good reputation for being a good lemonade stand artist. I mean, lemonade stand. Sure, but if not, he needs to either be taught or someone needs to teach him. You know, because it's like if I run a business, I want some form of guarantee. You know, so that's what I'm thinking to myself, especially in terms of credit. Now I don't know a lot about credit, but it just makes me think about that credit. Just that's the same principle. They need to know that you're gonna pay them back. You know, so that if they throw you $1 million, you're gonna have to pay them back, and they need to have that sense of guarantee that you're gonna pay them back. And I think that in itself builds his credit. You know, so if you're very competent with your money, I think that reflects on your credit score. For me, nah, not really, but I understand the concept well enough. But so that's what I'm thinking. Just the relationship aspects of it. Um, so yeah, I'm sorry. I've been kind of rambling. It's 36 minutes in. I have to prep. But I guess is there anything else you want to talk about? That's cool. I enjoy listening. Oh, okay, appreciate it. No, like that's really a joy. You know, that someone is actually finding you interesting to listen to. I enjoy this fellow named Cave on stage and excuse me, this guy named Doughboy, and they have this podcast called Righteous and Ratchet. Believe it's on iTunes. I know I get some of their stuff mainly on YouTube, so I'm like, their stuff is very. I believe that. So they just have light banter, and it's so funny to me. Not just funny, but it's just their opinions on hot topics is interesting to me too, as well as funny. So I guess that's all I get. I'll see if I can come up with another topic tomorrow. But especially where I'm from, where I'm at, there's gonna be a winter vortex of some sort, and so it's gonna be extremely cold. So I will probably have a lot more time to make this happen because it's gonna be too dangerous to go outside. That's for sure. Um, Dude, dangerously cold. So yeah, thank you for listening, and yeah, I guess we could chop it up about some anime sometime in music. That'd be good. I just need to brush up on my anime. I have some anime here. Um, like let me see. Yeah, yeah. So I got some of these anime. Haven't seen My Hero. Haven't seen Spice and Wolf. Love Mushishi. That's probably one of the few of them that I've actually read the manga on. Or at least a good portion of the manga. See, that's actually the perfect segue. I could probably talk about a little bit concerning it, because the concept of Tokyo Ghoul is great, especially just from understanding like mental health and stuff like that. I don't know a lot, but I've had my own bouts of stressing and stuff like that, and so um, just I'll just talk more about that later on. But yeah, definitely huge plethora that I could watch and just comment on because I like comment on stuff. So I might just have a little watch and comment type thing. All right, take care of yourself, Jonathan, and also music. That'd be good too. Um, you have a great day. God bless you.